Our bodies have this incredible way of sending us signals when something isn't quite right. But some of the most important messages, they can be the quietest. Today, we're going to decode some of those hidden warning signs, specifically from one of our hardest working organs, the liver. Let's dive in and figure out what it might be trying to tell us. We've all been tired, right? But what about that bone-deep exhaustion that just won't go away, no matter how much you rest? That feeling can sometimes be the very first, quietest whisper from your body that your liver needs a little attention.
So before we get into the warning signs, it's really important to understand what our liver is actually doing for us, like every single second of the day. And it's not just one job, it's hundreds. Seriously, think of your liver as the body's main processing plant and its master filtration system, all rolled into one. It's cleaning your blood, it's helping you digest your food, and it's storing up energy for when you need it most. So it's pretty easy to see why, when this powerhouse starts to struggle, the effects can be felt all over your body. Here's the tricky part with liver health. The earliest signs that something's wrong are often super subtle, and honestly, really easy to just brush off as something else. So let's look at what you should actually be watching for. Okay, this is one of the most common early symptoms, and we're not just talking about feeling tired after a long week. No, this is a profound, persistent exhaustion. See, a struggling liver is just less efficient at managing your body's energy supply, and that can leave you feeling completely drained for no good reason. Since the liver is such a key player in digestion, it totally makes sense that you might feel the first signs of trouble right in your stomach. This could show up as some unexplained nausea, or maybe a dull, aching pain in your upper right belly, right below your ribs where your liver actually sits.
All right, so we've covered the subtle stuff, but as liver issues progress, the signs can become much more visible, a lot less ambiguous. These are the classic alarms your body sends out that are much harder to ignore.
You've probably heard of this one, jaundice. It's maybe the most well-known sign of liver problems. When the liver can't properly filter out this yellow pigment called bilirubin from your blood, it starts to build up, and it can literally change the color of your skin and the whites of your eyes to a yellowish tint.
And that same substance, bilirubin, also affects your urine. As your body tries to get rid of the excess through your kidneys, it can turn your urine a really dark, kind of tea-like or cola-like color. It's a very distinct visual cue that something is off. You ever notice that you're suddenly bruising like a peach? The reason could actually be your liver. See, a healthy liver is busy making the proteins that help your blood clot properly. But when it's damaged, it produces fewer of them, which means even a tiny bump can lead to a huge bruise.
Your skin can tell a whole story too. You might experience this persistent, really frustrating itch all over your body, but with no obvious rash. This can be caused by bile products building up in the skin. You might also spot these tiny, web-like blood vessels right under the surface, especially on your upper body.
Okay, so as liver damage becomes more severe, the symptoms really start to escalate. They begin to affect the entire body systems, everything from your circulation all the way to your brain function.
If you start noticing that your legs and ankles are swollen, it could be something called edema. Here's why. Your liver produces a protein called albumin, which is responsible for keeping fluid inside your blood vessels. When your liver function drops, so do your albumin levels, and that allows fluid to leak out into the surrounding tissues, causing that swelling.
And this fluid retention can get even more serious. It can start to accumulate in the abdomen. This condition is known as ascites, and it causes a very distinctly swollen or distended belly. It's a clear sign of more advanced liver disease. Your digestive system will also be sending some pretty clear signals. A major loss of appetite is really common. And you got to pay attention to your stools too. If they're pale or clay-colored, that can mean a lack of bile. And if they're dark and tarry, that can indicate internal bleeding, which is a very serious complication.
Now we need to talk about one of the most serious developments. When the liver can no longer filter toxins out of the blood effectively, those toxins can actually travel up to the brain and start to disrupt its function. The medical term for this condition is hepatic encephalopathy.
So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, it can start out as simple brain fog or just having a hard time concentrating. But it can progress to some serious memory problems, real confusion, and even noticeable changes in a person's personality. Okay, I know after hearing all of that, the most important question is, what are you supposed to do? The key here is not to panic, but to be informed and, most importantly, proactive. Now, this is so important to remember. A single one of these symptoms might not be a liver issue at all. It's the pattern that really matters. If these signs are sticking around, if they're getting worse, or if you're experiencing a few of them together,
that is your cue to go get professional medical advice.
So, the action plan is pretty simple. First, just pay attention. Take note of any new or persistent symptoms. Second, listen to your body. Don't just dismiss those signals. And third, and this is the most important one, talk to your doctor. They're the ones who can run the right test to figure out what's really going on.
At the end of the day, knowing these signs isn't about causing worry. It's about empowerment. It gives you the knowledge to listen more closely to what your body is saying and to take charge of your health. So the question I'll leave you with is this. Are you listening?